Let's do this. The Cult of Hockey podcast by the faithful and for the faithful. I'm David Staples of the Edmonton Journal, and I'm here tonight with Bruce McCurdy. Hey, Bruce.
Hey David, how you doing today?
Pretty good. I was at Stick and Puck this morning, and I fell backward. I hit the goalpost, fell backwards, and hit my elbow on the ice, so I'm a little bit sore. But that's hockey.
Ah,
That happens
did,
all the time. Didn't
did you
break
have
it.
did you have your elbow pads on?
No, and Stick and Puck, you just have to wear a helmet and
I,
skates and gloves. So
when I was growing up, Howie Meeker said to kids, you need two pieces of equipment. Everybody thought he was going to say can and something, and he said, and this was way before helmets were in vogue. He said helmet and elbow pads. He said if you fall backwards and land on the point of your elbow, you can seriously damage your elbow in the extended long term. And that really surprised me at the time, and I've never forgotten it.
excellent advice because it's absolutely true. And I know one of the coaches for the Edmonton Girls Hockey Association, or an evaluator at the tryouts this year. He fell backwards, hit his elbow on the ice, and smashed it. I think he needed surgery. And he's a
Oh,
guy my age. So it could easily have happened to me.
brutal.
And maybe I'll take that advice from Howie and think about that going forward here. So, Bruce, a very strange, I think it was a very strange game. Like, just in the third period when the Oilers were down 3-2, I was just thinking, this is the worst, rancid, ugly game I have seen all year. The Oilers are just so flat, and they're just making so many mental mistakes going on out in this ice. It was hard to watch, frankly, because it was just the effort. I know it's hard to, when you're on a four-game winning streak, like it's easy to forget how hard it takes to work and to have that desperation to keep it going. They sure didn't have it tonight. And yet they won 6-3. They doubled the score on the New Jersey Devils. So it turned out very well for the Oilers. You're going to win a few each year, each game, excuse me, each season that perhaps you don't necessarily deserve to win. But although when you look at the grade A shots, the Oilers had 19 to 14. And but on the five alarm chances, it was 8-6 for New Jersey. And most of the Oilers' five alarm chances come late in the third period. I do believe. Let me just count them up. One, two, three, four,
Yeah.
five. Five of the six come in the last 10 minutes of the third. So my feelings are, or is it four of the six? My feelings are about the Oilers. This is before they come back, and then of course I was happy. Uh, how are you doing, Bruce?
Yeah, they gave up a bunch in a row, and then Edmonton got the last. They got the first two of the game, and then they had, I think,
The
looking at your
last
sheet
four.
here, the last four,
Yeah.
and the opposition had a whole bunch in between times, eight in a row. So good start, good finish, scored first. I enjoyed the game more than you did from the sounds of that. I enjoyed New Jersey. I thought they were fast. I thought they were dangerous. They had some real high skill on display. I mean, they got two first overall draft picks, Heischer and Hughes, and they both really had the puck on a string a couple of times and set up some good chances. And you make a little mistake against guys like that, and it's trouble. And they um, pretty gutsy by them because apparently they had a flu bug running through the team to the extent that they had a handful of guys that were on intravenous, and so uh, I wondered at what point would they run out of gas. And finally, in the second half of the third period, when Edmonton really upped their game down the stretch and Jersey couldn't match it, but up till then they played with energy and they gave it a lot. So credit to them. Um, Edmonton had some good performances, some iffy, some sloppy, and it was the game was there for the taking right up to the last few minutes, and Edmonton took it. So credit
Yeah.
to the Oilers.
Like they had a line, iffy, sloppy, and dopey on the Oilers tonight. Uh, or they were sprinkled through the lineup. Bruce, let's do our two good things, two bad things, and two numbers podcast. What's your good thing?
Well, I'm going to go with Edmonton's special teams in this game. They had to kill three penalties over the course of the game, and they killed them well. The goalie was their best penalty killer, I think, on one occasion. Koskinen made a really outstanding stop. And otherwise, I thought the PK unit got the job done. Good job of keeping the puck to the outside or jumping on it and getting it down when the chances came. I'm thinking of one play where Ryan McLeod had to battle off two guys along the boards and sort of force it out over the blue line after some pressure. And, that's just one example of many. A couple good shot blocks by Darnell Nurse in there. And then, so 3 out of 3, they got up the first 3 power plays, and then they finally got one in the third period with the score tied at 3. The Oilers got one chance, and they absolutely made the most of it, scoring a goal after first creating 1, 2, 3, 4 grade A shots with Draisaitl, Yamamoto from the edge of the crease, Kane from in tight on a deflection off a nice pass by Draisaitl, and then finally they got a bounce when a McDavid pass bounced off the defender and went right to Kane, and he popped it home. So a little lucky on the goal itself, but the power play just owned, and they were out there for 10:32. Yeah, I think about a minute and a half, but they were. The Oilers got 5 shots in that minute and a half, more than Jersey got in 6 minutes of power play time. And of course, the one goal, and that really was the difference in the game. Ultimately, of course, it was 6-3, but when Edmonton took the lead to stay, it was because their special teams had worked on both sides of the puck and delivered the goods.
Yeah, I'd have to watch the PK. The hardest thing I find for myself to evaluate is the penalty kill, to figure out exactly what they're doing. But it strikes me, Bruce, that they're a little less aggressive, like a little less trying to win the puck, playing a little bit more. It's always a zone defense, of course, but they actually did play quite a bit of man-to-man. The strategy previously was to force the puck to the outside and get it into the corner, and then kind of play a 4-man game and hope the other team couldn't beat you. So like a 4-man game, like there's 4 players on the other team, and you're covering all 4 of those kind of, and there's on the way far on the other side of the ice, there's the 5th attacking player. So that was kind of the play fair penalty kill, and it worked great for a long time until it didn't work.
No.
Now it's, I think it seems a bit more, they're a bit more in a box and just kind of waiting, and then a little bit less aggressive overall, but it certainly worked that game. And then on the power play, as you say, like Kane in the middle of the ice, Bruce, one of your comments was such a nice option to have that player there. And he really is good because he's got a great shot, quick shot that he can get off fast. He's so strong. He's strong, he's big, he's aggressive, he's skilled. So you don't, usually to have a player like that, they would need Draisaitl in that spot. But it's probably not the best use of Leon to have him in that kind of screening bumper position. You want him on the wings, I think, and making plays and controlling the puck. So when you have him there, I never really like it. I think that's not your best power play. But now they've got this Kane in the middle, and paid off tonight. Obviously, he just jumped on that puck and slammed it in the net, and it's not for the first time. It won't be for the last. He is a very effective player, very skilled attacker.
Yeah, the specific play I said nice option was the one where they tried the old Sedin play, where the 2 Sedins, one shoots from the face-off dot and the other one's halfway between and off to the side to the net, and he just kind of a shot pass and he deflects it.
Yeah.
And that was what they tried there. And I'm with you. I'd rather have Leon being the passer there and Kane being the deflector than the other way around. I think Leon's better when he's sort of initiating the play as he did there. That nearly worked.
And you don't really want Nuge or McDavid there either, which are typical players who are tried there and used there. And I don't think that is particularly best use of either of those players. So, I mean, if you have Nuge, McDavid, and Draisaitl kind of roaming around the outside, and then Kane as the guy in the middle, that's going to be an interesting power play. Although there's so many options. They have Yamamoto, Puljujärvi, who hasn't been out on the power play and since he got back, and Hyman can all get it done there. Bruce, my good was really strong. He made just a number of fantastic saves. He was beat on the one goal where the player put it in off the back of his body, but that is a tough play. It's a play that NHL players are starting to look for now. And the New Jersey attacker executed it very well. Then you could blame him for that. You could say that's on him, and that's fair. Other than that, though, he was, I just think, super solid in the net. As we said, he had 8 5 alarm chances and four. That's a subset of 14 grade A shots, and he got the job done. I would say he was a 7 or an 8 tonight. Probably I might even give him an 8. I thought he was, especially in comparison to the New Jersey goaltender. Now the New Jersey goaltender Colton Gillies had 19 grade A shots, which is a lot.
John Gillies.
Is that it, John? It's not. Oh, it's
Yeah.
John Gillies.
Yeah.
Colton must. Is that Clark Gillies' son, the forward?
Yeah, there's another player that they played recently. But anyway.
Anyway, excuse me, John Gillies. He let in 2 really bad goals, I thought. The first one, where Puljujarvi comes down the wing, poor guy. He doesn't know where the puck is. No one's telling him, like, it's on the other side of the ice, my friend. And he causes that goal against by losing sight of the puck and losing track of the play. And of course, the last person, when you lose track of the play that you want on the stick, there's 2 people on the Oilers you really don't want to have it, Connor McDavid and Leon Draisaitl. And it fell to Leon, and he made a nice play, move into the slot after Puljujarvi kind of popped it out there and put it right in. But that was on the goalie. He just lost track of the play. And then Tyson Barrie's goal. And I know they NHL players are starting to score from there as well, right?
Yep.
Like, this is a play they're looking
Happens
for.
a lot.
They're looking for, and it's a feature, not a bug, of the goaltending today, where they have this tactic now of taking whatever they're doing. I'm not a goalie expert, obviously. They're trying to be ready, I think, to push off to the middle of the net. Is that it? And they're down on their knee and they're trying to cover off the net, but they get down, and then there's a spot about this big
right there
over their shoulder.
Right
NHL
there.
players can hit that spot goal, like, goalie coaches, and they're starting to. So this has got the propane going. Or I thought you were looking out the window there. This is a chance of the offense catching up to the defense and starting to take advantage of this. And it doesn't work for the Oilers. Yeah, right there. Because Koskinen and Smith have been letting in this kind of goal. Smith has been let in a number of this kind of goal this year. And mainly Smith actually comes to mind. And this was one, and it's just like, they just feel like stinker goals. And that was the turning point of the game. The Devils had gotten a 3-2 lead, and they were well ahead, in terms of the flow of play. They were getting all the chances. Everything was going their way. They were clearly the better team. And then that happened. And then finally the Oilers get their first power play, and New Jersey was extremely ill-equipped, it looked like, to handle an Oilers power play, at least when the Oilers had the momentum in that moment. And the players were all loosened up and ready to go, and they just stuck the knife in there. But those 2 goals, they were the difference in the game. The Oilers, I don't think, were the better team, but they had the better goaltender tonight, and that's why they won.
Yeah, I didn't hate from a goaltender's perspective. I mean, that Barrie shot, that was a laser. Like the space is there, and it's sort of, if you can make a perfect shot, they're going to go in sometimes. Sometimes these days, you even see the goalie move their head and they try and stop it with their mask. You see more plays where the goalie makes a head save, and that's because guys are literally trying to shoot it either past their ear or off their ear and into the net. Like, it's
well, it hit his head, Bruce.
It's all open season on goalies there. It either goes over their shoulder, it bounces in off their ear hole. Either way, it's not much fun for the netminder to have snipers firing away there. I mean, we saw one early in the year where Stützle beat Koskinen in overtime down there in Ottawa with a wicked shot like that. And he had time and space, and Koskinen was trying to take away as many options as he could because he had a passing option, as Barrie did today, and he made the shot. So for me,
sorry, go ahead.
He had more problems losing his net, Gillies, like on the first goal, and kind of unlucky on the Kane goal that happened as well. And there was a third one where, again, he was kind of on the wrong side of the net and didn't quite get over there. So it wasn't. He made some good saves too, but he had a couple of tough ones.
He did make some good saves, but and the one and Barry's there was a tick when Barry's shot went in. I could hear a tick, and I was thinking, did Fogel touch it? I had to watch it. I watched it about 10 times, and Fogel didn't touch it, but it hit the goalie's head. I think the goalies in the NHL are going to start to get like dinosaur masks, like some of
you
those
watch for it.
Triceratops with a flared thing out on the side,
Well,
so they can stop them.
Garth
Get
Snow
that little bit extra save.
used to wear these elevated shoulder pads.
Oh
He had
yeah.
stilts under his shoulder pads, so the shoulder pads came up to like here. And thinking, yeah, that looks like a real humanoid playing goal there. But they allowed it for a long time. They finally outlawed it. So
Alrighty, your bad thing, Bruce.
yeah, okay. I'm going to go with. I thought the pairing of Duncan Keith and Evan Bouchard had a tough afternoon, and especially tough in the early going of this game when they got beaten for several excellent scoring opportunities and the first New Jersey goal. Keith in the first shift, 2 minutes into the game, made a bad pinch that led to a dangerous, I think that was a 2-on-1. Koskinen made the save. Then he and Bouchard were beaten by a pass right between the two of them for a breakaway that was Heischer, wasn't it? Went in and deked. Oh no, Jesper Bratt that went in and deked Koskinen. That was a nice goal by New Jersey, but the defense got beat. Keith allowed a pass on another one after Cassian turned the puck over. There was a dangerous 2-on-1. He wasn't able to take that one out. And at the end of the day, we had Keith involved in 5 grade A shots against and 0 for. And many of those grade A shots were actually 5 alarm shots.
Yeah.
1, 2, 3, 4 of them at least.
Yeah, and
he
was
4 out of the 5.
And he was often like not just responsible, but the main guy responsible. And of course, this it's funny because I had just praised him. Like I had just written a post where I praised him. That's how it works. So I know it's not all about me, but he has been playing extremely well. But man, he made some bad decisions early in the game. I mean, the breakaway play. I don't know how that happens. The first one, and and he and Bouchard got beat on another breakaway play in the second. It was mainly on Bouchard that where the guy missed the net, and there was lots. There was lots of chaos when they were on the ice in the first half of the game. They settled down in the second half, but man, that was back to the future. Like that was like what we've seen from those two previously. They had got it under control, but if hockey happens fast, and you start to make mistakes, get behind, and then it starts adding up fast. And I agree, Bruce. They did not have a strong game on defense, and it's a question mark whether they will be able to get it together. It's one of the big issues for the Oilers. I think Ceci and Nurse are now forming a solid top pairing, and Cody Ceci's he's playing great hockey, game in, game out. He's having good game after good game. He's just churning them out like on a cookie cutter lineup, a production line. And Nurse is trended down, but I think he's settling down a little bit now with CC at his side and is playing better more recently. Keith has been playing great for the last 2.5 months. They're playing good at least. And but tonight was the exception to that general rule. Hopefully it's just one game. It happens to defensemen, it happens to players.
Yes. Yeah, CC was strong again today. 5 block shots for CC, 2 for Nurse, and Nurse's 2 were very important blocks. I thought either of those shots could well have gone in the net. I think one was like 1 second to go in the period, and the other was on the penalty kill, if I recall.
Yeah, Darnell, 23 minutes for Darnell, so they're not overusing him. So Bruce, I've been going back and forth on my bad thing, and I was going to say Leon Draisaitl because he led the team at even strength, at least on major mistakes on grade A shots against. He made 6 of them. And there was 2 that stood out. There was one where there was 2 players battling behind the net, and Leon decided, well, he would go join them. And it was quite an extended battle, and he's just kind of sitting there out of position because there's a guy wide open in the slot. And eventually New Jersey wins the puck and puts it to the guy right in the slot, and they almost score. And that's Leon was he's the low forward. He's got to read that play better and cover off the slot area. And because you can't be outnumbered in the slot, you can be outnumbered behind the net even, but someone's got to be out there. And
he was
not
blocking off one side, pass out one side, and the pass came out the other side, and his two wingers kind of played Alphonse and Gaston in terms of getting over there too. So it was kind of a team. It was like this big long was like 10 or more seconds behind the net, and all of a sudden, bam, there's a guy alone in front with the puck.
And Leon also had a pretty wicked turnover, which led to a big goal it was the third goal for New Jersey. He was just carrying the puck out of his zone, and he decided to decommand at the blue line, which is, an iffy play. To do that, although there was two defensemen with him, probably one of them should have been more conservative, but he got deked, and it led to a very dangerous scramble, and eventually got slammed in the net. So there was a couple plays, but there was other, as you have, we were talking about this before, and you pointed out that he had some seven takeaways. So he has his good moments and bad moments, and they were mixed. It was a high event game, we'll say, of Leon. But I'm going to reserve my bad thing, Bruce, for a different play. Now that I've attacked Leon, snuck in an extra.
I'm taking my number.
Oh, did I? Sorry. Did you tell me that was going to be your number? Maybe you. No, you did tell me that. Okay. Bruce, you got no end of numbers though, right? I'm hoping you have another
numbers.
Okay, good. Yeah, you're like I'm confident in your ability to conjure up another number. My bad thing was playing Zach Cassian on the top line, and I don't know why. He decided things weren't going well in this game, so Woodcroft, I think, decided to shake things up and see if he could get something more out of it, even though his team was up at that point 2-1. And I'm not sure if that was the right call. Maybe it is, but if you're going to shake it up, we are well past the time when Zach Cassian should be on the top line with the Edmonton Oilers in the top six. I don't think. And especially not against, maybe if you're facing Eric Goodbranson on the defense and he's like roughing up Connor McDavid all game, I could see but you're playing the New Jersey Devils, this is not a physical team at all. It isn't. There's the one guy who's a kind of a fighter, Gertson, but other than that, there's no hitters on this team. There's no tough guys. This is a soft NHL hockey team. By NHL standards, this is one of the softer teams. You don't need Zach Cassian to play with Connor McDavid. And what happens? You're out there for the first shift of the third period. The Oilers break in, and there's a rush out. Doesn't even seem that dangerous a rush, but it turns into an odd man rush because someone is slow on the back check, Zach Cassian. And he wasn't awake. He was going slow, and they get a shot on net, which goes behind the net and then is deflected in off Koskinen. But if Zach Cassian is alert and he's on the back check, that doesn't go in the net. So players will make mistakes. Everyone has their weak back checks now and then. So it's not necessarily that play that I'm upset about. I just don't get, though. You're essentially limiting McDavid on the attack when you put him with Cassian because he can't really keep up. He's not very strong on the attack. He should be playing limited minutes on a lesser line. And I see, other than the example that I gave where you're playing a goon team that's gooning up McDavid, I see no exceptions to that. So I don't know what Woodcroft was thinking. We had a theory. Go ahead, Bruce. You can say what our theory was there, but why that promotion happened.
Well, I thought that Cassian engaged Geertsen after a play where Geertsen had taken a sort of a shot at one of the Oilers at the whistle. I never went back to re-identify who it was, but it was one of the skilled players. And throughout the stoppage, as they lined up, he was talking to him. And this was one of those cases and where I thought Cassian was standing up for a teammate. And usually he just fights his own battles, Cassian. I don't see him as being the Dave Semenko, Dave Brown kind of enforcer that specifically takes care of business of looking after the Stars, but I think that was what happened there, and it may well have been a reward from the coach. I'm not saying that there was or that it was right or wrong for it to to get a shift there, but it went on longer than it needed to because he was struggling today, Cassian, and
Yeah.
a couple of bad turnovers inside his own line, and I thought he easily could have took 3 minor penalties. He got called for 1, and the 1 was actually the least of the 3 infractions. And it's he's still just getting back into it. His first game without the bubble, but it wasn't a great day's work for Cassian. But he was front and center a couple times for sure, and that was a whale of a tilt. I mean, for those people who like the old Scott school scraps, those two guys weren't playing a lot of defense. And Mason Geertsen, he is one tough guy. He used to play for the Oil Kings, and he got traded for David Musil way back in the
Well,
day
that's a long time ago.
at the deadline. And the one year that Musil came in, the Oilers had 4 draft picks playing on the Oil Kings at the same time. So
We used to take Oil King after Oil King after Oil King with high picks and never worked out too well.
Mitch Moroz, Martin Gernat, and Travis Iwanek, and David Musil. I think those were the 4
Yeah.
that were simultaneous on that 2013 Oil Kings team. Anyway, Geertsen was the reason Vancouver wanted him at that time. Giants was he was a young, really tough player.
He still
So he
is.
made
And
the
I
NHL.
I hated that fight, honestly. I
Okay.
hated it. I hated every second of it because all I'm thinking is, to the extent Cassian is a good player, like he can help the team by hitting and being an energy player. And I just thought he's going to get hurt again because this has been his story. Like he's been in fights, he gets hurt. And he did take a pretty hard landing at the end of it on the ice. And I just thought, I'm tired of seeing him get injured fighting. And maybe they just think he's got to be the guy, but I don't know. I'm not.
Well,
I didn't like
he
it.
he's been hurt by my count 7 times since beginning of calendar 2021. So basically, the last short season plus this one, 3 times on LTIR, and he got a concussion in one fight in the preseason this year. He broke his fist, his finger or whatever, punching a guy in the visor in Ottawa last year, missed a month. And he also had not a concussion, but a head injury that he was wearing the bubble at all, right from a broken jaw when he got hit with a puck. I mean, that may not technically be a concussion, but it's not good. And so you worry a little bit about the noggin after a while, but he clearly wanted to get rid of that shield and get back into the action, and he did that today.
Well, he's obviously got a lot of guts. Like
Yeah.
he's a big, bold individual. Like there's no doubt about it, and a fearsome hockey player. He's a big Bobby Clobber if there ever was one.
Yeah.
But I didn't. And I'm not someone like sometimes I like fights. Like I'm not saying I always hate the hockey fights. Sometimes I like hockey fights. But I didn't like that one. I just thought he's just got his mask off for the first time, and his head hit the ice a couple times I think this year after fights, and because his helmet flew off
Yeah.
I don't want to see him fight, and I'd like to see him play hockey, and because I think he can still help the Oilers as a hockey player if he's conscientious defensively and if he's forechecking hard, and just make that his focus. Forget this fighting stuff. But anyway, that's what he does. Number.
Yeah, okay, I'm going to go with the whole row of numbers. I was just going to pick one, but I'm looking at Leon Draisaitl, who I thought was great in this game, even with the scoring chances that we've documented. 1 goal, 1 assist, 2 points plus 2. He played 23 minutes and 24 seconds, most of any player, forward or defenseman on the Oilers. He had also 21 minutes at 5-on-5, most on the Oilers. 5 shots, 11 shot attempts, which his shot totals have been down lately, so this is a really good sign. 1 giveaway, 7 takeaways, 7 takeaways. Like I can't remember the last time I saw 7 takeaways. Certainly wasn't this year, by anybody on the Oilers at least. And he was just all over the puck. Let me get to the end of the line first, though. Face-offs, 21 wins, 7 losses, 75%. And that is one terrific long line on the event summary. Pretty good shot shares, and he was on for 1 goal against and 4-4 counting the power play goal. And just all over the puck, David. That's 3 times in the first period alone. Just absolutely stole the puck off of a New Jersey guy. Twice in the neutral zone, once in the defensive zone. Once he stole it in the center, and he just came charging back up the ice himself and barged through the defender and came in alone on goal. And then a couple of dazzling rushes like that. And I just thought he was a very proactive player. Struggled a bit in the first half of the third period. And
Yeah.
otherwise, I thought he was brilliant in this game.
He, to be fair to him, he did make the 6 major mistakes on grade A shots against, but he made 9 major contributions to grade A chances 4.
Okay.
So that's pretty good.
Work.
9's a pretty good total in a game.
Well, the power play goal that the Oilers got, it was really all 5 guys, and the pass never reached Draisaitl. That bounced to Kane. But the whole reason Edmonton had the puck in Jersey zone in the first place was Tyson Barrie went all the way into the one corner, past the hash marks, made a great play to reach and chip the puck before it was going to get cleared down the ice. And so New Jersey got it in the corner, and they tried to rifle it around the boards and ring it out the other side. And Draisaitl picked it off behind the net and got the cycle going again. He never touched the puck again after that, but it wound up in the net.
Yeah.
You know.
And he also made a nice pass to Hyman, right, on the goal there.
I'll say.
That was a very nice play, very quick play. I should also point out that on Barry's goal, there was a lot of great offensive zone play. Good, there was Barry and Russell both were pinching hard and won the puck. That whole group of players won the puck 2 or 3 or 4 times in that sequence, and that was a good,
Russell
hard-working
made a
goal.
real nice play there.
Yeah, he did, and a nice
blue line.
pass. Yeah, and some smart plays. Chris Russell, it's nice to see him play well. Honestly, I thought we might not see that again. He is such a he is a favorite of mine, because of how smart he is as a hockey player and hardworking. He's a very smart defensive hockey player, and now and then he's smart on the attack too. And he was on that play. Both he reversed it once on the board, like he was on the boards, and he passed it in the opposite direction, and then he walked the line to put it over to Barry on a very nice pass on the goal itself. Bruce, my number is, go ahead.
One other play that surprised me a little bit, where it looked like New Jersey was going to get in over the Edmonton blue line, and he made a good play to sort of nip the puck before it got into a dangerous spot. But where basically 100 times out of 100, I would expect him then to take the puck back over his own blue line and do the Russell reset. And instead, he got the puck and it was gone. Just an instant transition pass to hitting a teammate near the attacking blue line. This was fairly early in the game. Just sort of, wow, that was Chris Russell did that. They really must be coaching this. Get the puck ahead quick, because that's not the game of Chris Russell that we've come to know and love. But it sure was on that play, and you wonder if that's a coaching thing. I'd say there's one thing about Chris Russell: he's probably pretty coachable. If the coaches want the team to do things, he will try and do things that way.
Yeah, and it may well be a coaching thing. I mean, they have the defensemen to make plays like that, so why wouldn't you try to take advantage of it? Bruce, my number is 3. This is the 3rd time this season the Oilers have won 5 games in a row. And they did it early in the year. They actually won 6 in a row then. They did it again under Tippett, right? This unexpected win streak that almost saved Tippett's job, I believe.
Yes.
This is in late January, early February. Let me just go
5-0-1, wasn't it, that streak?
Let me just go to my chart.
Overtime loss in there. The Stutzla goal I referenced earlier was in there, but 5-0 plus the 1.
I'm not sure about that. So I have them beating the Islanders on the. Oh, is this maybe early? Oh no, this is actually the first. This is under Woodcroft. This is when Woodcroft first took over.
Oh right, yes.
I'm incorrect. That was Tippett in charge. Yeah, and you're probably right about the Tippett one there. You're right, Bruce. There was a 4-game winning streak, and then they lost in overtime, and then they won another. With in Tippett's last stand. Almost saved his job. But then those 2 losses came to Vegas and Chicago, and They just look so bad. Anyway, then they won 5 straight under Woodcroft. New York Islanders, San Jose Sharks, LA Kings, Anaheim Ducks, and Winnipeg Jets. And now they're on it. They're doing it again. Now they have a chance to go to 6 games, and it's going to be really hard. But I'd say it's a coin flip. I think that they had a game that was a wake-up call tonight about their work ethic, and they're going to hear it, and they will feel it themselves. They will feel the mistakes that they made and be thinking, what the heck was I doing out there on that play? Like, and a number of players will be thinking that. And I think a win like this, just like the win against Detroit, allows a reset. When you kind of screw up in victory, then you often come out the next game revitalized. And against Buffalo, the Oilers were really good again. So I think we're going to see the Oilers if they can get some goaltending, there's always that if. But I think we're going to see a really strong Oilers effort against the Avalanche on Monday night.
Yeah, well, let's hope so. I mean, I was more nonplussed by the Detroit game than I was by today's game, and in both games I gave the other team credit. But the Oilers, this is the 3rd game in a row that they scored 6 goals on the other guys. They've had 7 games all year with 6 or 7 goals, and 3 of them have been the last 3 games in a row. And mind you, these were the 3 games where people are saying they're playing against teams they should beat. Well, guess what? They put up a 6 spot or more on all 3 of those teams.
Not bad.
Beat them. They did. And so their offense is really starting to pick it up. It's nice to see. And there's a few empty net goals in there. I think the homestand 3 empty net goals, but they scored 27 times in a 5-game stand, at least 4 in every game. Gotta like it.
Alrighty, I guess we can leave it there. You're going to be doing the game grades?
I sure am.
All right. Well, good. I hope you get them done fast, Bruce, so you can have a relaxing evening. Thanks for talking tonight.
Yeah, thanks for listening, everyone.
And in the meantime, and in between times, this has been another edition of the Cult of Hockey podcast.